Hey everyone, this is Sanjay here, and I'm really happy that I'm launching this particular playlist, which could potentially help a lot of users out there to get started with GitHub, learn GitHub, start with open source, and join the amazing diverse community of open source and GitHub community available out there. Now, I'm so excited to launch this for you. Now, what you will be learning. So, in the initial phase, you will be learning about very basic, like how to start with the Git, how to install Git in your system, now how to create a GitHub account, and how to connect your Git to the GitHub and push that repository into your remote repositories. So, it might be sounds very basic to most of you watching this right now, but I would recommend you to completely watch it again because you will be able to fresh up your ideas on what you have learned before. Now, I'm also touching upon very fundamental of GitHub factors like how the Git is storing. So you will really understand the thought process or workflow behind the Git, so which will eventually make you a better developer and handle amazing open source contribution out there. Now, this video for everyone. There is like no age limit. There is like no requirements. All you need to do have some patience on watching this video. If you feel like this video is kind of pretty slow, put it on the 1.5 or 1.7. That would be better for you to go through the entire list of the videos. So this is going to be a very long series of videos where I would be touching upon explore open source. Now, one of the motivation behind me for to make this particular playlist is because I do run a lot of programs regarding to the open source. So what I see is like people want to learn open source. For example, one of the program which I ran before, there was like 27,000 people registered for the program. And at the end of 3 months of open source journey, I can see only 2,500 people contributed. Now, this has been the same scenario for most of the program which I have seen, including the GitHub programs which I have seen. So people want to learn, but they do check at the basic things where I do understand that the Git is pretty much complicated for a beginner to grasp and get into the open source, because there is like a lot of wait period happening over here. So I'm going to make it simple for you guys. So let's get started with the explore open source. Now, as I told you, this is like an experiment. I won't say experiment, it's like a way of contributing. So I'm just trying different methods which can make it easy for you guys to understand. Now, maybe after 1 or 2 months, maybe I will just come back to you here, get your feedback on what else I can improve or how practically I can make it easy for you guys to understand the fundamental concept of Git and GitHub. All right. So what we will be covering in today's learning path. So we will be talking about what is GitHub. We would be talking about what is the difference between Git and GitHub. And we will be also talking about how to contribute, how to make your first commit. So before making your first commit, in this video, we are not going to touch the GitHub. So we are going to talk about what is Git and how you do that Git in your local repository. How do you do version control? So you learn a lot of things, factors in this particular video. And unfortunately, I'm not going to teach how to install Git in your system in this particular video, but check out the description box up there. I've posted one more video which will help you to get install Git and Visual Studio Code in your system. All right, then of course a beginner's guide, then we will jump into explore GitHub. So who the heck am I to teach you? So I am your facilitator for this complete playlist, and I created this because I believe like this is going to be really beneficial for you guys to get started with open source. Now, I'm a data engineer and ex-program manager at GirlScript. So most of you might know me as a program manager from the GirlScript. And I love growth hacking and love data science. And I do have a lot of GitHub repository or organization which is kind of related with data science and mostly in a general purpose. So yeah, feel free to come and contribute to it. So I recently graduated from Macquarie University and I did conducted 50 plus speeches and already counted 1 million plus impressions on different social media platform on a lot of things. Now, launching a course and program was one of my uh, goal list of this year. So this GitHub is one of the program which I'm going to launch. So this would definitely be free for everyone. I want this open source to be learned by everyone for free. This is not going to be priced at any cost. All right, so that's all about me. So you can reach out to me on my LinkedIn. The link is there in the description box. You can reach out to me on the LinkedIn or my GitHub or my LinkedIn account. All the social media account has been given it over here. All right, awesome. Now, before jumping start into GitHub, so I'm just going to give you an overview about at the end of this particular program or at the end of this playlist, what exactly you guys are going to get. So you guys are going to get a pretty much impressive profile like this. Now, for one glance, you might be thinking like, oh, this is like a normal profile. But again, this, if you go into the commit over here, you can see around 202 commits during last 3 years of time. So what I do is like I go to different profiles and I find the best profile and try to take what's good in them and try to make my own unique profile. So I will, at the end of this particular playlist, you will be having a pretty much good profile like this, and a list of amazing followers, and I can make sure that how to get all these badges out there, and how to get GitHub Pro for free. If you're a student, I'll definitely let you know how to get the GitHub Pro for free, and I will also make sure that okay, you have joined in different organization. And yeah, of course we will talk about this particular streaks, and this is one of the amazing part of the GitHub thing. And yeah, I will also show you how to do more open source contribution, and I would definitely help you with reviewing your profiles and everything during this particular course of time. So stay tuned to make your awesome profile. Now, if people are wondering like, if you want to see some other profiles which is really good in the platform, I have created another repository. There is like a link in the LinkedIn description box, so you can go over there and understand it. So now there is also a link of, I am giving the link of this one in the description box as well. So if you just don't want just to see my profile and you want to refer some other profile, so we have shortlisted around maybe around 100 plus profiles, the best profile with unique profiles out there. So I will definitely show you how to create a profiles like this and how to get this particular statistics in your profile. Now, so don't worry about this right now. So I'm just giving you a sneak peek of how exactly you gonna scale up just by watching this video and doing some basic task. All right, so let's jump into some of the theory parts, because the theory parts are really important to understand why GitHub is existing or why Git for the first place. All right, so let's get started. All right, so let's get started with the Git. So what is Git and what is the difference between Git and GitHub? So before that, let's understand what is Git. So this is basically like a version control system. So we also say it has SCM, which is also called as software configuration management. Now this has lot of for this lot of Git terminology. So that's what you can see out there. Now by end of this video, you will be having a complete idea about what is this all terminology out there and how it's working. So to make it easy for you guys, how it basically works is something like, so one goal of VCS is to easily recall earlier version of your individual files. For example, you guys are working on one particular readme file and there is like multiple people working on it. So you want to know who has changed who on what time, and you want to go back into the changes you made it before. Now, if you are just working on multiple people working on a single file without a version control, that's going to be very hard. So this is the place where Git comes into the place, where it makes it easy for to control the version and quickly jump in back to the time and see who has changed and who has committed this particular changes in your particular file at particular point of time. So that's a bit technical, I know. So another goal of Git is something like if several team members are working on a project, so maybe sometimes they work on same single file, so the Git allows them to work on the same file without affecting each other's work. So that's the basic idea about Git. So it also opens the way of collaboration. So because you're not changing any main file, but at the same time you can all of the collaborators or all of the developers can work on the simple particular file. So let's understand how exactly this is working. Now, before heading into it, I want to clear about this Git terminology. So what is working tree? So this is basically like the set of nested directories, I can say, or files that contain the projects that's being worked on. So that's called a working tree, right? Now, what is called a repo? For example, let me go back to over here. Now, if you go to a repository over here, you can see a lot of repository over here. So this is basically like I can say a directory located at the top level of working tree, right? Now, let me go into one of my file over here. Let me make it very simple for you. So there is something called open source practice, which I have been created. Now, so this is a place where Git keeps all the history of metadata of your project. For example, when I go over here, I can see all the data regarding when did I update it over here and who has committed and all the details. So you can see our small code over here. So this is called SHA. So every commits they have their savings is in the SHA format. So that's how Git make it secured. And from here, I know what did I did, what commit I do. So here I updated the README file. So I can even go here and see what changes I have made on my particular repository. So I hope you guys got what exactly I was talking about. All right. Now let me come to the hash thing. So you might notice that there is something called hash. So as I told you before, hash is basically a number produced by a hash function, and this basically represent each of the commits. For example, whenever you do a commit or whenever you make any status change on when you do a Git commit, a particular SHA number will be assigned to particular commits. So this SHA number is used to reference this particular commit, and using this particular SHA, you can copy this particular ID and you can go back into the particular file at this particular point of time, or you can recall the particular commit history. You can do a lot of things with this. So one advantage of using hashes is that Git can tell whether a file has been changed by hashing its content or not. So if the file time and date stamp is changed, but the hash isn't changed, Git knows that the file contents aren't changed yet. So I know this might be pretty tricky to understand how Git hash is working, but definitely there is like an upcoming slides where we show in a diagram. So that might be kind of useful for you. Now, let's look at another terminology, which is called object. So objects are basically 4 types, which I would say blob object, which contains an ordinary file. A tree objects represent a directory, or it contains names, hashes, permission, etc. A commit object represents specific version of the working tree. A tag is a name attached to a commit. So here I summarized 4 objects available. So basically the one is like a blob object, a tree object, and a commit object, and a tag, right? Now let's understand what is commit. So for example, if I want to change anything in my open source practice profile over here, or if I change something over here, let me change open source practice demo. Now, when I click on commit, it asks me what did I change. I added demo over here, updater readme headline. So now I have an option to commit directly to the change to the repository, or create a new branch and create a pull request. I know for a starter it might be really difficult to understand what exactly this is all about, but again, so what we're trying to do is like we are simply trying to change a file name. Now I am the owner of this repo, that's why I'm able to do this. So when you click on the commit message, commit, you can see the demo has been changed. We have added a demo. It's basically like you go and change a file text in a file text editor. Now what happened is like when you edit something in the text editor, there won't be any history saved. Now you can see this has been committed now by Sanjay, and this particular, it has been verified by the GitHub, and there is like a particular SHA has been assigned to it. So that's how it works. Now if you look at over here, you can see a branch icon. This is called a branch icon, or maybe I can just go over here and I can show you. So there is only one branch currently available right now. If you want to create a new branch in your name, Sanjay, you can create a new branch in your name called Sanjay. Now what happens when you create a branch is like it creates the same copy of the main file. Now this is my main file, right? Now let me go into my branch Sanjay and make some changes over here, which is basically like demo #1, and I do a commit message over here. Click on commit message. Now let's understand what really happened. So now when we go into the open source main, you can see there is no #1 written over here. But on the same time, when we go into the Sanjay, you can see a #1 has been created. Now what really happened? So what happens is like you created a branch. Basically, you don't change anything on the working application or something. You always create a clone of the particular application, then we do a change. For example, when you work in a real time, there will be different system. For example, sandbox system, then there will be like a development system, then there will be like UAT, production, a lot of things. Production is the system where a existing application is properly running. So basically when you want to change something on an application or an app or a website, you don't directly go and change on the working application. There might be a lot of things can go wrong, right? So that's why we always create a branch. So this is a branch where you can do any of your experiments with a file. Now once the experiment is done, you can always go and compare and pull request and merge into this particular branch. So I hope that was pretty much clear to you. So in a very theoretical way, I can put this into like this. For example, the most recent commit on a branch is called head. For example, in this branch, the most recent commit over here, over here, when you go over here, the most recent commit is over here. This is called head, right? Which is created when you initialize the repository, or which is called main and often called master. So initially what happened is like this main file is used to call as master. Now mostly it has been renamed to main. So whatever you see, if you encountered any very old repo which is like 5 or 6 years back, you might also see that they are still maintaining a master branch. But now GitHub officially made changes into the main. So the head of the current branch is called as the head of the current branch is named as head. And branches are very incredibly useful feature in Git because they allow developers to work independently or together in branches and later merge their changes into the default branch, which is main. For example, as you can see, there is like a changes over here, which is like a #1 has been returned. Now when I do a compare and pull request over here, it will ask me to merge. Now this says that this automatically can't merge into the main repository. So what I do is like create a pull request. So once you create a pull request, it might take some time. So there might be sometimes there will be a lot of conflicts happens. So, or else you can just go over here, you can change because this is like a forked repository. So this is trying to change something on the main repository. So I don't want to do that right now. I just want to make a changes into my current main branch. So you do that you create a pull request, you merge it, confirm your merge. Now what happened is like this has been merged into your profile. Now when I go into the open source practice over here, you can see hash1 over here. So that's how it works. Now this is like a branch, which if you want to delete this particular branch, you can go and delete the particular branch as well. So that's how the things works. Now there is something called remote over here. So I hope we are still talking about this particular terminology over here. So there is something called remote. So what exactly is a remote? Or I can say like a remote is like a named reference to another Git repository, where you create a repo and Git creates a remote named called origin, and that is a default remote for push and pull operation. So when you try to do push and pull operation, we create a remote name called origin. So we will encounter this origin thing or remote repository a lot of times in the command line in the future. So there is like another things called commands. So we do have push and pull commands over there, and this is going to be very pretty much interesting and more commonly used commands in the Git or in the future. Right. All right. So you understood what exactly is Git right now. So by using the Git, you can make fully local history of your changes, right? So even if you are working offline, the Git would really help you. So in this video, at the end of the session, we will have a demo session where we will be only working with Git on our local system. All right. So I just want to give you a brief idea about before heading to what exactly is the difference between Git and GitHub. Now in the Git, it will help you to collaborate. For example, this is like a developer 1, developer 2, developer 3 and 4, and all these developers make their own change. They all will work on the same files. This is the central repository over here. Central repository, each developer will create a fork of the central repository, which is means copy of this particular file, and they will be working on that particular file. And due to the Git version control system, this developer will push all the changes into the remote repository, which is the central repository over here. So that's how the collaboration is made possible. Now this particular function is called Git, and GitHub is a cloud platform that uses Git as a core technology. So what it basically do is like it basically simplifies the process of collaborating on projects and provides a website, more command line tools, and overall flow that developers can use and work together. So there is like a lot of things in Git. For example, all these files which is available on your local system can be pointed towards the cloud platform. So many people, like for example, when you come over here and go to my repository over here, and you can see a lot of people been working on this single file, and a lot of pull requests has been created. For example, right now there is like a pull request created for adding this. Now as a GitHub admin, I can go and see what this particular person has been added by looking at these files changed. And if everything is working fine, I can click on review and approve the changes and merge it. So this changes will be visible on my made file. So that's how the things works. So when you start contributing, you will be able to see your name over here, and any contribution on the GitHub will be counted to your streak over below, right? That's going to be happening. All right. So that's the basic understanding about Git and how it's working. Now I want to show you how to do Git in your local system. So let's go and let's go to any of your repository. Make sure that it's a free repository. Now a prerequisite for this is like you should have Git installed in your version, irrespective of Windows or Mac. So I will be providing a link in the description box. It's a very straightforward process. It's like a Git software. For example, if you search Git download for Windows, you can click on this download version, click it for Windows. If you're using Mac or Linux, you just directly download it. That's it. Git will be currently installed in your system. It's a very straightforward process. There's a video link in the description box, so I don't want to spend time on that right now. So we'll just quickly jump into it. So type the command cmd. So what we will be doing is like, we will be opening Visual Studio Code over here. So what we'll be doing is like, we will be opening Visual Studio Code. So you can open the Visual Studio Code by clicking on here. So this will make easily to open the Visual Studio on this particular directory, rather than me specifying the directory. That is going to be very tiring procedure, right? So now try to open your terminal. You can click on view. There should be terminal, view terminal over here. Now you can set the current Git version by just checking Git version. So you can see the Git version 2.30.1 has been installed in my system, which is pretty good. Now the next step is like, you have to configure your Git, right? So for that, you just need to type git config global user.name and enter your username. So it can be similar to your GitHub, I would recommend. So you entered your GitHub configuration over here. Now you use the same command for GitHub, create a user.email configuration variable. That's for basically like configuring your email. So you just change this one, same command, git config global user, and you type your email ID, sanjay@recode.com. Now click on enter. Now you enter git config list. So it will show you the particular details. So it's still running, I believe. So once it's been run, you can see something like this, where you can see this particular username and email ID has been over here, right? All right. So now what you will be doing is like, we will be creating a new folder, and we will make that folder version controlled in offline mode. We are not touching the GitHub in this particular video. All right, so what I will be doing is like, I will be creating a new file over here. So let's create a new file by the command line mkdir. You can type demo, so which will create a new file called demo over here. You can see the file has been created, which is called demo. Now if you want to move into that file, you just type cd demo. So now you are in that file. You can create ls to see any files inside that particular file. So right now there is no file available. Now what you will be doing is like, right now you have to create a new branch. For example, you have to create, first you have to initialize the Git in the particular folder structure which you have created. So what you will be doing is like, you type git initialization. So you can see the Git has been initialized. Now what you will be doing is like, you will be creating a main branch for this. So for creating a branch, you type git checkout be main. So it has been switched to main. Now you can see status of Git by git status. So these are the two codes which is been used. So you can see no commits has been done yet. Now there are a number of Git functionalities available. So we don't use many of them every time. So if you search git help, you can see all the commands available. Now if you want to see which branch you are currently in, just need to type git branch. It will definitely show if you have initialized a particular branch or not. Now let's go. You can see also a hidden folder called .git file has been generated. So whatever files you've been creating over here, for example, let us create a file called readme.txt. Oh, spells. All right, so we have created a file called readme.txt. Git add. Now what I will be trying to do is like add these files in the version control. So readme.txt. Oh, why did I put an extension of txt? So list the file. So it has called readme.git add. Now that file has been added. Now if you want to see status, git status, you can see that file has been added, but there is no commits has been done yet. So in this particular case, what you will be doing is like you'd use the particular git commit message, added readme file to git. Now you can see one file has been changed. So from the staged version, it has been committed and it became stable right now. Now when you do git status, you can see the branch is updated and clear. Now if you type git log, you can see complete log of what changes you have been done. So that's the basic idea about what we have done today. Now if you create a repository, and you can directly push these changes into the GitHub cloud. So your particular readme file, whatever is inside it, it can be accessed by 100 million people around the globe. So that's the basic idea about how exactly the Git is working and how you can utilize the GitHub. Awesome. So I hope that was pretty much informative for you on this particular session. So we learned about a lot of commands in one single video of 30 minutes video, which is like how to configure your Git version. Then we learned about what is Git status, Git add, Git commit, and Git log, and Git help. So that's pretty much big for a beginner to learn. Now let's learn about Git workflow, what really happens. Now this might be pretty hard for you to understand, but again I'm just trying to make you understand. So this master or main branch is the branch which production is running. For example, I would say if a website is running, so that would be on this particular branch. Now we don't directly go and change this green branch. So we either create different version of this, maybe hotfix, release version, development, feature branch. Now you create a branch called feature branch. Now you try to experiment a new feature. For example, if you want to add a login page into your website, you create a copy of this main branch over here or master branch over here and create a feature branch, and you make changes over here. Once the changes is done, you push it to the development. Then once this changes is been done, you push into release. Then once this has been, everything is working fine, you push that into the main branch. That's how basically the things works. So to put into my to a simple more perspective, for example, there is an Octopus over here. So this is the main Octopus. We don't really go and change anything on the main Octopus, but what we're trying to do is like we want to create a cowboy hat and we want to create a hard glasses. Now this cowboy hat and hard glasses been added by two different developers, right? This can be Sanjay 1 and this can be Sanjay 2. Now what the developer will do is like they will be creating a copy of this Octopus into their single repository or into their feature branch as we have seen here. Then they make the changes. Then once the changes is working fine, they will push into the main branch. Now this particular Octopus is called a cowboy hat, hard glasses Octopus, right? So that's how the change has been made in a very systematic way. Now again, you don't have to memorize all these things. You don't have to do it. It's just basically like a list of commands. The more you work on this particular Git or GitHub, you will it will be by-hearted by to you. So what I will be doing is like I will be creating a blog for you. So the description is there in the the link is there in the description. So you can go and find it out over there. Again, I have covered most of the things over here. So you can go and experiment all these commit messages over here. That would be easy for you. Now we already spoke about how the hash thing is working, how head is working. So that's a graphical representation of how hash and head is working. Now you made a commit, you can also revert that particular commit by copy pasting this hash command over here. For example, you go into the commit. Now I have added a screenshot of this particular person. Now I don't want that to be done, and I want to go into this particular stage where that screenshot was not there. So all I need to do is like copy this SHA from here, just go into my Git and type git revert and copy paste the SHA. So it will go into that particular phase where that particular screenshot was not there, right? To make it much more simple for you, now you made a changes and the octopus looks like this. Now you feel like, okay, this is like a overdressed, I don't want to put an hat over here. Now what I can do is like I can go back to the stage of this one where there was no hat. Now there will be particular SHA associated with it. Then just type git revert that SHA number. It will be go to a stage where there was no hat. That's basically how the things works. All right, so we already done the practical session, so the slide was ahead of us. All right, so there are few more commands which you can go and try it out, which is basically like git rebase I, so which will rebase your Git repository, and Git Basics, which we can help you to track down any bugs in your Git version control. And editing previous commits, you can just use git rebase I. So that would be the basic thing. Now we have almost covered the basics of GitHub, including how to install the Git and how to work on this, local file in your computer. Now let's have a FAQ, then let's wind up this particular video. So let's take around 10 seconds to answer this. Which of the following scenarios is a common use case of version control system? So what do you think, what is a common use case of version control system? Why are we using the version control for the first place? So I hope you answer it. Just mark in your paper or something. So this gives you an overall idea what you are learning. And what is another name of version control system? I have explained this in the first 2 minutes. What is another version of the version control system? All right, let's look into the answer. So what you can do is like you can make experimental changes in your project in an isolated branch. So version control is used for that particular purpose. And another name of version control system is software configuration management. Now there is like a additional info. You guys know who developed the Linux, right? So Linus Torvalds, right? So he developed this particular Git version in long back, and this has been adopted by wide variety of softwares. Then GitHub born, which is like a cloud platform to version manage your GitHub, where developers across the world can come together and contribute. Now that's a brief history of how the version control has been born. So the idea behind this is like Linux. What is the difference between Git and GitHub? So we have already discussed this before, and what command gives you information about how to use Git? So you just need to type git help to get all the commands. And basically, as I told you, Git is basically help you to work on different branches and push the changes into the remote repository. So the remote repository can be cloud hosted or sender repository, which is like a main repository available. So what we do is like we make a clone. So where GitHub act as a remote repository, and which is accessed through a website or command line tools. So I hope you guys understood how the GitHub is working. Git is working. In the next video, we will learn about GitHub. Then we will slowly start moving into the next stage of open source. So we will be completely have a good knowledge about the fundamentals about the Git and GitHub. So where we can freely enter to the open source world, where we will be working more with the particular version controls tools. So yeah, I know this is a lengthy video. Put it in the 1.5 or 2 if you feel like this was slow. And I hope this is like a great journey. And make sure that you connect with me on the GitHub. Just give a follow button I will try to follow you back as well. And once you join, uh, in the next coming videos, we will talk about how to get these badges, how to make up profiles like this, how to create a GitHub account. A lot of things is coming up. Now, if you can also feel free to join the GitHub organization link, which you can find it over here. You can click on this invite link over here and type your name. Why do you want to join this particular committee? Submit the issue. You will get an email automatically in your inbox. Accept the invitation. Then once you accept the invitation, go to the settings, go to the collaboration and teams. You will be finding your name over here. Sorry about that. I enable a lot of security because I do manage a lot of open source projects, so it's pretty good that to have a security over here. Now you go over here, you can see your name on the particular page. For example, this was Recode Hive. You can go to the people, you can see your name. For example, you can filter your name by like this, Sanjay. You can click on, by default it would be private, click on public. So what happened is like your profile, there will be a new tab called organization, and the organization you're being part of will be visible to the other people. So this is basically like a profile optimization. This will really help you in the long run. Okay, that's a 41 minutes video. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you really liked it. Let me know your feedback where I can improve so I can re-upload the video later for new batch of students or new batch of people. Thank you for watching this video. Bye.